If you're looking to start a blog, I got you in this video. I'm going to be sharing the 9 things you need to be doing before you start your blog. And I understand that starting a profitable blog can be overwhelming because you don't know where to start or the right things to do, especially when things are constantly changing. What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Brianna Queen. And the first thing you need before you start your blog is you have to determine your niche. Now, I know a lot of creators out there are saying ditch the niche, a lot of need a niche, but to create a blog, a profitable blog, you actually do need a niche. Google needs to determine how they're going to categorize you. Are you a fashion blog? Are you a beauty blog? They want to know that you are an expert in a particular topic. So if you have an article on gaming, article on cooking, article on food, Google's not going to know how to categorize your blog. And I think you should determine what you're going to be writing about, because with your blog, you want to create blog posts that interlink with each other. So that means you want to have blog posts that are very similar. So for example, you may have a blog post on the best concealer to wear, then another blog post the best foundation to wear, then another blog post the best lipstick to wear, almost like a series. So you want to make sure that you do have a niche when it comes to your blog, and I highly recommend having that before you start your blog. Number 2 is to determine your ideal person. Who's the person reading your blog? Listen, there are so many recipe and food blogs out in the world, right? But they all have a particular niche. Some blogs help people who are keto. Some blogs people who are vegan. Some are for moms who want meals that are less than 10 minutes. So determine who is your blog going to be about. Is it going to be a beauty blog for millennials? It's going to be a home decor blog for college kids? But really figure out who are you going to be writing for, so that when you write these articles, it actually relates to the person you want it to relate to, and they come back for more. There are certain blogs I visit at least weekly because I'm their target market and it makes sense. I enjoy their content, I enjoy their articles because it was created for me and it's written for me. Number 3, and that is to pick your domain name. Now, I know picking a domain name can be very, very hard. You don't know what a domain name is. It's just the name of your website. For example, my website is briannaqueen.com. Your website may be foodforlovers.com, but that is just your domain, your .com address or your .co or your .net. But you have to choose a domain name. And I know that picking a domain name can be really hard, especially when you have all these great domain names and you try to buy them. They're either taken or they cost $10,000 to buy. And by the way, most domains are usually around that $10 to $15 mark, but sometimes you'll find a really good domain like lovely.com and they want to charge like $8,000 for it because it's such a good domain. So you do have to figure out what you want your domain to be. So I will say this, whatever your domain is, if it's going to be a personal brand, just go ahead and name it after yourself. For example, my blog is briannaqueen.com. It is a lifestyle blog and I really talk a lot about me. I also have another blog that's learnbrianna.com that's all about content creation and sharing what I've learned along the way as a content creator. I also have 2 other blogs that are faceless blogs, so I don't share those domain names, and those domains don't have a face to it. So it really just talks about the topic. So for example, if you know you're going to blog about lawnmowers, you can name your website lawnmowersforus.com, but really think about what your domain is going to be and if it's going to make sense. Additionally, make sure that your domain, when it's written out, it doesn't look weird. For example, your website may be therapistloveyou.com, but typed out, it reads like therapistlovesyou.com, and you don't want that. So make sure whatever domain that you choose, that you ensure that it looks right and there's no funky ways it can be misinterpreted. And then additionally, the shorter the domain, the better. People don't want to have to type out a super long domain. They're going to forget it. So the shorter your domain, the better it'll be. So once you have your niche, your target market, and your domain name, it's time to also choose your web hosting. And if you don't know what web hosting is, that is just where you have your domain. So sometimes people say, well, I have a domain, don't I have a website? No. Having your domain is like having a phone, and then having your web hosting is like having your phone service. You can't talk on the phone and do all the things a phone can do if you don't have an actual phone service. So that phone service may be AT&T, it may be, Verizon. So think of your domain, your hosting just like that. Your domain is your phone, and then your hosting is your phone service. It is how you get your domain to work. It's where you store your website images and your data and that sort. So popular hosting is SiteGround, Bluehost. So you want to make sure you have your domain and your hosting set up. Next is time to design your blog. Now, inside my program, Bank Up with Blogging, I really stress the importance of not getting tied down with things that don't matter. Your blog design should be nice, it should be cute, but it should not be over the top. You want to make sure that your website loads super fast, and the more bells and whistles you have on your website, it could cause your website to load slower, which can hurt your rankings as well as people coming to your blog, someone comes to your blog and it takes 10 minutes for the web page to load, they're not going to wait 10 minutes for a page to load. You wouldn't wait 10 minutes for a page to load either. So you want to make sure that your website is super fast. There's also plugins for that, which I will list some of my favorites down below, but it's super important that your design not cause your website to load slow. Additionally, one of my blogs has a very basic web design. I mean, it's super basic, because at the end of the day, the design is not the most important thing. The content is the most important thing. Obviously, don't need anything raggedy, but do not spend all your time on I have to find the perfect WordPress theme. You have to focus on the content so that you can make money with your blog. Okay, so once you have your niche, your target market, your domain, and your web hosting, and you design your blog, then it's time to create your essential pages. So there are certain pages that you do want to have on your blog. So if someone wants to contact you, they can contact you. Your about page, it shares all about you, as well as your privacy policy. You want to let people know, like, does your website take cookies? So make sure you have a privacy policy, a terms and condition on your page to legally protect you. And if you're unsure what to write in your privacy page and your terms and conditions, I did get a template, and I will provide the link to that template that I use. But it's super important to have your core pages for your blog so that Google knows that you're serious. And a lot of times Google will not even allow you to put ads on your website if you don't have a privacy policy and a terms and condition page. They actually will ask you what those pages are. So make sure you have a privacy policy, terms and conditions. And I think having an about page and a contact page is just great for your reader, so they know about the blog, as well as if they have any questions, see any typos, they can contact you via the contact page. So next up is you want to set up your Google Analytics. So how do you know how many people came to your website and read your blog this month? How do you know your top performing blog posts? How do you know what's ranking? How do you know the average amount of time people spend on your site? What web pages are the most popular for the month and what's trending? All of those can be answered with Google Analytics. Google Analytics is going to give you everything you need to know about your blog. Additionally, if you're trying to be approved for ad networks like Shemedia, like Mediavine, like Ezoic, they do require you to give permission to the Google Analytics so they can see how many people come to your blog and stuff of that nature. So you want to make sure that you also set up Google Analytics for your blog. The easiest way is to download a Google Analytics plugin, and that will prompt you to set up your Google Analytics for your blog. But that is super duper important to have that set up before you even create your content. I highly recommend setting up Google Analytics from day one so that you can track your progress. Because here's the thing, what doesn't get tracked gets ignored. And you want to make sure that you're tracking people on your site. You want to make sure you're tracking page views, sessions, things of that nature, that you can always improve your blog. And if you see that you have 5 blog posts that are doing really well, and all 5 blog posts are talking about air fryer recipes, you can say, okay, my audience really likes air fryer recipes, I should create more. So it allows you to create better content based on your data. Number 8, have a content strategy. Ask yourself, what days am I going to write my articles? What days are articles going to be posted? How many times am I going to post per week? These things are super important. It's not enough to just create a blog and say, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. Make it a priority. Say, okay, I'm going to write a blog post. I'm going to post a blog post every single Tuesday or every single Thursday. One of my blogs, I was able to get into Mediavine and hit over 60,000 sessions. And I did it because I said, okay, every Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to write a blog post. And I was very strategic on that. 3 times a week, I had a blog post going out. So ask yourself, how often am I going to blog? How often am I going to post? What days am I going to post? Make it super easy to stay consistent and be consistent. And then last but not least, the last thing I think you need before you start your blog is to have all of your social media profiles set up. Now, here's my caveat. I do not think you need to be posting on social media when you have your blog. I think you need to focus one on the blog, and then you can also do social media down the line, right? For 2 of my blogs, I don't even use social media because there's no point. But there's a caveat. I do think you should set up social media profiles with that name so that nobody else can take it. In the past, I had a friend who did not have an Instagram at all, but she had a website. Well, somebody created an Instagram with her same website name and was saying that her website belonged to them, and they was trying to scam people with her Instagram page. For example, let's say her website was called Eyelashes and Lipstick, right? Somebody created an Instagram called Eyelashes and Lipstick, pretending to be her who actually had the website and was reaching out people like, hey, I have this website, lipstickandlashes.com. Can you send me some stuff and I'll do a blog review? So they were scamming people. So that's why I say you want to make sure you have your social media profile set up. Even if you have no intention on using those social media profiles, make sure you have those set up so that nobody can impersonate you. So these are the 9 things I think you need before you start your blog. In my next video, I'm sharing things that you do not need when you start your blog. So be sure to check out that video next.